Your attention, please, in the infield media center here at Richmond. We'd like to formally introduce, on the NASCAR Nationwide Series side anyway, Travis Pastrana, who is making a little bit of a switch. Juan Pablo was just talking earlier about making a switch from a little open wheel to NASCAR, and a little switch for you as well from 2 wheels to 4, coming on into our sport. Travis, of course, has been doing a little bit of driving in our NASCAR K&N Series as well to get prepared for his move to the NASCAR Nationwide Series here in the summer, and working with Pastrana Waltrip Racing on the NASCAR Nationwide Series side with Michael Waltrip and teammate Ryan Truex on that end. And Travis, welcome to NASCAR Nationwide Series. Welcome to Richmond. I know you had some time to run last night in the K&N race and Denny's race, and maybe talk about that a little bit and then give everybody an idea of what your plans are specific to moving through and then getting into Nationwide in your time in NASCAR thus far.
Oh, well, definitely. I mean, it's been a lot of fun just getting in the car and getting to really, meet and drive with some of the guys. Michael has just been awesome, as well as Matt Crafton, who's been kind of a driver coach and, coming from the truck side just to really help out, and also doing a lot of spotting for me. We had, this is my third race on the K&N Series. So I did K&N East-West Shootout in Irwindale. Felt like we drove the worst there. Just kind of drove around, but we ended up 6th, which was our best finish so far. So, learned something every lap for sure. I definitely had a tough go yesterday. Trying to jump from car to car. I definitely have a lot of respect. Always did, but have a lot more for guys like Kyle Busch and Denny Hamlin, all those guys that can jump from one car to the other, because it was very difficult for me, and we qualified very far back in the K&N Series, but yeah, we were able to work our way up a little bit, and then had a little brush with the wall and ended up with a flat tire. So it was a rough end of the day.
If you have questions for Travis, go ahead, raise your hand for us. We've got the wireless mics. We'll bring them to you. Name and affiliation before you ask, please.
Steve Post, MRN Radio. In that K&N race last night, I mean, mixing it up with other drivers, and that's kind of when you got into trouble and got up in the fence, you were outside and that sort of thing. What are you learning about that, big pack, side-by-side on these racetracks? What are you learning about that, and maybe what you learned last night, maybe not to do?
Yeah, definitely huge, and didn't really think of the aero game as far as the aerodynamics and the wind. When I come in on the inside and you'd go to make the same move, if you were right up next to a car on your outside, your car wouldn't turn, and you just both go up, and vice versa. If you go to pass someone on the outside, I found that when I was on the outside of someone, they didn't turn, and unfortunately we'd go straight to the outside wall. So definitely lesson learned on that one. I'm sure I'll probably make that mistake again, but hopefully I'll at least come into it knowing what's gonna, what a possibility is there, and also just learning to, when you get in with the big group, it was tough. We had, we were the middle car. There was a car in front of me, a car behind me, car beside me, and 2 wide all the way through. And I just kind of got fixated on the cars that were directly in front of me and to the side, and wasn't really paying attention to the braking points as much, and kind of started following them around the racetrack as opposed to starting to drive myself and make something happen. So, learned a lot. I think it was qualifying way back. We qualified 29th. I was very disappointed, but it was good because it gave me an opportunity to be the faster car in that area, and to be able to try to move up and learn how to pass these guys.
Dustin Long, Landmark Newspapers. Travis, can you kind of compare and contrast, I guess, maybe the effort that you're putting into this with maybe one of the stunts that you've done? I know that while people look at it and think you're a wild and crazy guy, that there's a lot of preparation to go into that kind of stuff, to pull those things off. So is there one stunt that really kind of stands out that took a lot of time and preparation, and how does that compare with what you're doing with trying to do this process?
I'd say for me the double backflip might be what I'm known the most for with the freestyle motocross, and that was actually a 4-year process. It's what people, they never really see that kind of stuff. Unfortunately, coming in here, I'm going to have that 4-year process in front of a lot of people, a lot of eyes. But there's no such thing as an overnight success. And although I feel like we have great experience in racing, coming from the motocross, and good experience in the car coming from rally and car control, it really doesn't matter what you're coming from. There's a new series, and these guys are the best at what they do. So it's definitely been a huge challenge. I've learned more than I thought. I've learned more than I thought there was to know. I mean, about and there's still I haven't even chipped the iceberg. So it's going to be a very long process, but I'm really looking forward to it. And with Michael, I mean, a guy that had done so many races before his first win, he really, understands that this is not an easy sport. But if you really stick with it, I think, that's what we're in for. We're in to figure out how to drive this car, and that's the goal.
Do you think this will be more difficult? Do you think at the end of the day this will be more difficult than the double backflip, or?
For sure, racing is always more difficult than any single trick, because with the trick you only have the variable of yourself and whatever machinery you're working with. With racing, you can say you're going to do something, you can say you're going to win, you can set a New Year's resolution, but basically it comes down to what everyone else is doing too, because you're not the only one that's training hard, you're not the only one that's studying film and that's learning every single race. So it's going to be very difficult.
Travis, Craig Murtaugh with In the Pits Racing Radio. How did the skills you've acquired on two wheels cross over to four wheels, if they do at all?
I think everything's about finding the balance. And that's just my personal experience. And no matter what I've driven, what I've ridden, even anything that you do, it's finding the balance of the motorcycle, of the car. Skydiving, finding the balance of your body. In gymnastics, it's all very relevant to trying to find the balance of the car to make the car go faster. And the toughest part about NASCAR is that there's so many guys that are so close that something very, very small makes a huge difference.
Damian Searle at Danville Register and B. Travis, have you had a chance to talk to guys like Juan Pablo Montoya, Sam Hornish, who are both here, guys who have done open wheel before, not the four open wheels, not the two wheels, to find out what the transition was like and kind of give you an idea what the transition is to come from, those big the open wheel stuff that you do to now these big bulky stock cars?
Yeah, I mean, talk to Montoya a little bit, not too much, but their transition was a little different coming from pavement to pavement, whereas I'm coming from mostly a dirt background. Definitely think that there's a lot that I could learn from everybody out there. Carl Edwards, going over to Race of Champions with him this year, and just Jimmy Johnson's always been a friend for quite some time, and just Jimmy coming from the off-road as well, back way back when with the Mickey Thompson off-road series and doing some of the Baja stuff and whatnot. So, and also growing up as a motocross racer, but I think for the most part it's talking to guys like Ricky Carmichael and stuff that have more of a direct route, and seeing how well Ricky, everyone's like, oh, we'll never make it, this and that. And, he's the last couple of races in truck, he's been very competitive. And, that's just kind of the determination of him and, not having a lot of experience in cars, before he even started. And, it's been a 4 or 5 year road for him. But, I know that it's going to take a lot of time. And definitely talking to those guys helps. But at the same time, it's getting that experience. I mean, I could tell you how I want to go around that track, and I could tell you everything that or not everything, but I can tell you a lot of stuff that I'm doing wrong right offhand, but it's a difference between knowing what you're doing wrong and actually being able to adapt it and do it right.